What's up, guys? Welcome to the Highly Effective Man podcast. Today is a special day. I have one of my clients here today, and I'm really excited about this because this is the first time that I'm doing a client interview. And let me just tell you, man, Ray has kicked ass in the program. He's done a lot, and I don't want to steal any of his thunder or anything like that, but I definitely just want to say how good of a job he's done and how impressed I am with how effective he was with the program, and really looking forward to what he does next. So without further ado, Ray, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, JP?
Nice, Ray. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. Yeah, go.
Sure. I'm from the great state of Texas here in Houston. Lived
All
here
right.
all my life, but I have traveled the world and have aspirations to move out to Europe at some point. I work in information security and I've always had a problem with diabetes type 2. And I finally seeked help and JP led me the way. And I'm very happy with my results so far.
Nice, nice. So talking about hiring a coach and why you did it, can you just walk me through your decision to work with me, starting with the moment you decided to look for a coach?
Sure. So there are many aspects to this and why I made this decision. The first one is I listened to a lot of podcasts and I had heard one of the podcasters talk about they name dropped you, right? And it was Dr. Delane Vaughn. And I had looked into her
Yeah, she's
program.
awesome.
Yeah, I had looked into her program, but she only worked with women. And I was like, okay, will you ever engage with working with men? And she gave me your name. So being in cybersecurity, I did a lot of under the radar type stuff, looking for your name and found out a lot about you. And I was very impressed. And I knew this is the guy that's going to help me out. Another part of it was that there was a mentoring session at where I work, and I wasn't picked. And I really felt I've been a mentor my entire life, but never the mentee. And I really thought this is probably going to help if I stick to it and do what I'm told and get through it and have someone to hold my hand during the way, we get results.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of people that think, oh, I just give me the program, just tell me the exercises to do, tell me what to eat, and I'll do it. Right. But it's not really the case, is it?
No, it was not.
Yeah. You got to have, I feel like, whether it be business or nutrition or physique or anything like that, having a coach is just that next level, right?
Of course, yeah.
Nice. Now, when it's funny that you said you were like being in cybersecurity, I'm like, man, what do I got out there, right? So you found me. Now, I imagine there was probably a little bit of hesitation in there, maybe as to reaching out, or maybe not. I don't even know. But what would you say was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome before signing up as a client?
Sure. So definitely, I had reached out. You had sent me a few email blasts saying, "Hey, were you thinking?" Because I had inquired, but it came within 2 weeks, and then I don't know if this is good. I don't want to be again being in cybersecurity. I don't want to be scammed. I don't want I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
anything strange to
I know
happen.
the online space is so crazy, right?
And so I kept listening. I found some podcasts that you did about your football history. And just, I was like, God, this guy, CrossFit, Navy SEAL. I was like, man, this guy's a real deal. Right. So, but what really stood out was like, we're the
You're
same
making me feel good.
height. We're the same height. We've just hearing from the other podcasts you did, always told you're too small or you can't accomplish this or you don't have it in you, this and that. So I was like, yeah, he sounds pretty real. Let me jump on this. And when we discussed, it was a very professional 45-minute discussion we had. And then you said, are we going to do this? And I was really kind of hesitant at that point. I was like, that night, I gave you my expectation. I'm going to have an answer for you tonight. And I was like, you know what? I have nothing else to lose. I'm already losing to diabetes. So why not change that?
Man, I think that's a great observation there, or a great comment, is that it's you're in a position where it's okay, if I don't do something, what's the alternative, right? Like, is it full blown diabetes? Is it a heart attack? Is it an early death or whatever it is? And I'm in a position right now where I have to do something, right? It doesn't matter how much it costs, right? And thankfully, it's not breaking the bank or anything like that. But it's just nice that there's options out there for you to actually be able to reverse diabetes, right? I mean, how many times, and we've talked about this, right? Like, how many times did you go to your doctor and did they tell you, hey, just start eating healthy and fasting and doing this type of stuff and it'll work?
They never told me that.
Yeah, never, right?
They double the medication. And in my own experiences, I've been to the ER various times for it. I've had blood vessels erupt in my eyes because of diabetes. And every time I go to the doctor, it's let's beef up that medication, or maybe you should try to do this, but never a real answer, right? Doctor's always in a hurry. I'm in a hurry not to die, right?
Yeah. It's super impressive because one, I'm a firefighter, right? And I go on calls, and as people get older, all the stuff that they were doing in their younger years start to catch up with them. And a lot of the people that I show up to are type 2 diabetic, high blood pressure, and they're battling this disease. I can think of one guy that I go to quite often because he's in a coma or whatever, and he didn't get his shot in, or he didn't judge it right. And then we're showing up and the guy's already missing half his foot and this type of stuff. It's nuts. It's seriously an epidemic, right? Where it's something that can be controlled, but yet a lot of doctors try to figure it out with medicine, and it just doesn't work in the long term. It might help in the short term, but in the long term, it's not the answer, right? And speaking of results, what results did you get from us working together, right? Like, where did you start? Where did we end up? And if you could just share that with some of the people listening or watching this.
Sure. So I started with JP at the end of November, right before the day before Thanksgiving.
It's perfect time to start your diet, right?
So at that point, a normal human being has an A1C of 5.5. Mine was 9.0. And so that's an estimate of blood sugar level within 3 months, right? 9.0 is go to the ER. Things you're going to have to get all kinds of medicine, and they might have to start chopping stuff off, right? But that concerned me. I had never been that high before. I used to range in 7.8 and lower. Never been to underneath 7. And I was doing about 1,000 milligrams of metformin. I had blood pressure medication. I had another piece of diabetic medication. And as I would go every year and get older, they would add one more medication to that, right? So thankfully I hadn't had to go on insulin yet, but the struggle is always just up the medication. Let's see what works. So now within the program, it's been about 3 months. So my A1C is at 6.5, which is excellent, right? It's just one more point down to get to regular, right? And so I feel way better. I'm able to go through physical activities and endure and go further. I've cut my metformin in half to 500 every day. So it's just one pill in the morning. Lisinopril that I used to have for blood pressure is completely gone. And I had another diabetic medication called glipizide that's every other day. And it used to be 10 milligrams. It got dropped down to 5. So far, my blood pressure has been on 120/80. Sometimes when my job gets stressful, it's to 130/90. But from where I came from, this is way over hypertension, it's a real gain for me. But yeah, those are the results. Those are the hard numbers, right? The facts. But everything else I gained out of it, how to keep going when you don't want to, how to stick to something. Fasting. You gave me a lot of literature to read, and I read it, heard it, and it was great. A lot of things that my doctor or people I talk to who have diabetes don't know.
Yeah. That's awesome. To go from 9 point something to 6 something in 3 months, reduce your medications. And how much weight did you lose?
Oh, so I was at 198 and I've been hovering at 183, 184, and I'm at 5'8". To me, that's great. There's always room for improvement, but I was telling you the other day, I can play a whole game of basketball now without even thinking about losing my wind or anything. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. We're just talking about health markers and some of the physical aspects, what other benefits would you say that you got some out of this? What other benefits would you say you got?
Sure. So because I stuck to the program, I had to get my wife on board, and my wife is reluctant to change. So the first thing was the day after Thanksgiving was like, okay, or the day before Thanksgiving, here's a diet plan. It's like, what? I already have all this stuff bought, right? And that was getting her on board. That was the first 2 weeks, and we started to eat what was the plan that you gave us, or working with those foods. After that, she saw me going to exercise every day, so she started coming on board as well, right? And we had set some goals for myself, some personal goals that you and I had talked about, and one of them was swimming. And I've tried 5 times in my life to learn it. It's never come through. So my wife saw that I want to do this, so she's going to be part of it. She has helped me almost fully learn how to swim, but that in itself helped out our marriage a lot. We weren't going through rough times, but it helped a lot in communication. Not only that, sticking to plans, sticking to an exercise regimen and weightlifting regimen has taught me I can endure. I can do things. I go on
Nice.
rucksacks where I would go on rucks that were like 2 miles, like maybe a year ago. This is enough.
Hmm.
But now I can go 10, 15 miles because, I've
Nice.
read the literature and I know what I'm capable of, right? If I cannot eat the bread that's in front of me, I can do another mile, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
so I learned a lot. It was a growing experience, not just the physical rewards from it. The lower numbers were great, but it also developed me as an adult.
Nice, nice. And when you say that, are you talking about like mindset and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I think, and I guess, would you say mindset is a big piece of the program?
I say in initial test, yes, a lot of it is changing your idea of the past experiences you've had where you tell yourself, maybe I can do that. But then if you're telling yourself I can, like one of the exercises we did, and you keep telling yourself that, and you have someone behind you saying, yeah, you can. I see what you're capable of. Some things I didn't see and you would bring it up. So yeah, in the initial test, mindset is everything. But once you get going, you're going, right? You want to do more things.
Yeah, yeah. Because we all have patterns in our life, right? And part of this program is interrupting that pattern and creating a new pattern. And once that new pattern is established, at first it's a little bit hard, but then as you continue to do it, then it becomes your actual belief, right? And it's just okay. This is what I do, right? It's almost like you go from something I'm trying to something I am, right? Totally changing your identity, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because we talked about this, right? About mental toughness and all this, and everybody's looking for that quick fix or anything like that. But would you say there's any times that you were struggling through the program, or, and if so, what did you do to overcome them? Or is there anything in the program that kind of helped you overcome that?
Sure. In the first month, it's probably every week. I was like at 70% curve, like, man, this is gonna fail today because there's just delicious food here, or I don't feel like getting up, right? But the thing we did for the first week of our journey was you had me write down some plans on what will happen if that were to come up. Right. I'm into research and data and statistics, so I would make sure, do I have something prepared here? What happened to all those questions we wrote down? So I'd go check it and check it against myself, have an accountability time, and just say, okay, I've already signed up. I've got people counting on me, and I gotta follow it. So I would just follow it. Obviously, my wife was there too. Like, put that down or don't go over there. Anytime something would have come up, I'd be prepared, or I'd write it down and be willing to come to our next visit and say, here's what I had a problem with. What do you think about it?
Nice. Yeah. Excuse me. I think that it's easy for a lot of people when they do come up with some kind of struggle, or they do have a moment of weakness or whatever it is, and then they don't have somebody to go to, and then they're like, screw it, whatever, I'm off it. And I think that's where coaching helps. What So if somebody was out there listening to us talking or watching this, would you recommend them to sign up? And if so, why?
Yeah. If you're going through the same struggles that I was going through. So I've always tried to be on top of things and trying to be prepared, but I never really had a mentor. And so getting to talk to someone who has their best interest in you, especially for diabetes or losing weight, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to do, I'd say go for it. Why not? Like said in the beginning, what else is there to lose, right? Most of the time we go taking an extreme measure is when we feel that we don't have a way out anymore. And so this is my way
Right.
out, but it was a reverse abstract, right? Because I actually got to see what I'm capable of. And now it's just the beginning. After our 3 months are up, I'm going to be able to use what I was taught and move forward, right? I'll always be building on top of my life. So it was a great decision on my behalf. I talked it over several times with my friends and wife, and I wouldn't go back. If anything, I would have started earlier.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So this is a weird question, but how much does this mean to you? How important to you was doing this?
It means everything. One of my goals was to actually put diabetes 2 into remission, despite I hear everyone saying you'll have to take insulin. Or my first time in the ER when I was 21, the doctors were already telling me they feel sorry for me because it's never going to be the same. It was very strange. But now I feel like I've got the bull by the horns at this point, and it's just a matter of tiring out, right? And so I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to keep going. So I'm really excited to see what I can do by myself.
Dude, so am I. I think we talked about this on one of our coaching calls, but you're changing your family tree in a way, right? Creating a healthier you. And not only that, but you have your wife working out with you now. And whether you know it or not, people are seeing what you're going through, right? And they're seeing the changes. And even your doctors are probably like, whoa, what's going on here? What are you doing? You said that, right? You said something along those lines. It's just amazing to me that you're literally saving your own life. You've been handed in a matter of words, like you've been handed a death sentence in a way, but then you've taken that and been like, no, screw that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to do something about it. And you are, right? And it's super exciting to be a part of as your coach. And it's super awesome to me just to be able to help somebody like you and accomplish so much, right? And what I think is so awesome is that, yeah, okay, we're doing the reversing diabetes thing, we're doing the losing weight thing, but like you said, it's like after this program, you're going to be able to keep moving forward. And what's really cool is that you've been talking about swimming for how long again?
My whole life. Like just
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, and I've shared with you, I'm not the greatest swimmer either, right? And it's just awesome that you're accomplishing all these different goals, right? That are even outside of reversing diabetes and weight loss or whatever, right? And so I just think that's really cool and exciting, and just another reason why coaching is important. And I'm not saying coaching with me, but anybody can get coaching with anyone, right? And I've said this to you, it's so much easier to read the label on a bottle when you're not in the bottle.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other specific benefits or anything that you want to share with anybody that we haven't already talked about?
I don't think there's anything else. The tale tells itself, right? I have my numbers. I'm completely happy with what I set out to do, and for a long time I didn't feel like I was capable of doing it. So I sought for help, got the resources I needed, and now I don't know. I feel reinvented. As soon as I can get into remission, I have big aspirations and dreams. So that's where I'm going with it, and I will always. Every day we met, I wrote a bunch of journaling for myself, and I know I can go back to those notes. And this is a greatest time of my life at this point. Right, I've seen the benefit, and I'm gonna run a 10K next month.
That's
It's fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Shoot, Ray, I just want to say thanks, man. Thanks for allowing me to have you on and so that you could share your story with people. I think there's a lot of people out there that are probably, whether they know it or not, are going through some of the things that you went through. And sometimes just hearing it from somebody else who's actually been through it, I think can actually be helpful. If anything, it can inspire people, right? Like I told you, I was like, dude, you are not only are you saving your own life, but you're inspiring people around you. And everybody that sees what you've gone through, they see Ray and they say, wow, he reversed his diabetes. That guy's, he's got his stuff together. He's getting after it. Right. And to me, that's super cool. And to be able to see somebody pursue their dreams, their goals, and do it. And that's what everybody's capable of, right? They just, sometimes you just need a guide or somebody to help you out. Thank you for coming on, Ray. I appreciate it. And if anybody is out there that needs help or anything like that, or if something that Ray said speaks to you, then reach out. Let me know. And I can't say that it will always be a good fit or anything like that, but I'm always happy to get on a phone call and talk with you and see if there's anything we can do to help you getting it going in the right direction. All right. So, Ray, anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you very much. It was a journey. I want to be sad after it, but keep going.
Nah,
No,
don't be sad, man. Yeah. You can
you
still
know,
reach out to me anytime.
for sure. Hopefully, we see each other later in lives, and
Heck
maybe
yeah, you got to come out to Hawaii, bro.
for sure. Yeah, whenever in Houston, come by.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Ray, thank you very much. And anybody listening, you guys know where to find me, higherlevelcoaching.co. I'm happy to work with you. And at the time of this recording, I'm actually launching my first women's group that starts on February 28th. And so if you are interested in that, let me know. All right. Thank you, Ray. And we will see each other again soon.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time. Have a good one.
All right. Awesome.